Hello guys and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Julie. Hello, hi, how are you? So it is that time of the month again where I show you all of the books that I've read this month of October, and that is, my friends, a lot of books. I don't even know if I can hold them all. We have this stack of book, and we also have read a few Epubs. So I have read 16 books this month. That's a lot. I have done nothing of my life. That's the reason why I've been reading all of these books. We've had quite a successful month with a lot of amazing readings. I am sorry the lighting might change throughout this video. I am currently sitting in front of my window, so it is natural lighting. Very sorry for that. So I've read a lot of books this month, but I can explain. We had Vampathon going on during the last week of October, so I've read a lot of books during this week. I've read quite a lot of books also before that, but as I've said, I've done nothing with my life. I was just reading, and also I've read quite a few books that were that long, so it really helps. Let me grab my notes, and we are going to start with the Epubs that I've read. First book that I've read this month was These Wicked Stars by Catelyn Wilson. So this was an arc that I received. I do not know when this book comes out, let me tell you. It's published. It was published on the 31st of October. So I read this book and I liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars, okay? It was nice. The thing is that it was a bit too similar to Caraval at first. Then it was a bit more living on its own, you know, but I didn't like the fact that the love story between the two characters, like the romance, was going way too fast. It wasn't of my liking. I can't really remember what it talks about. I do remember that it talks about a kingdom that you can enter like at a certain time. I think it's like every single 15 years or 30 years, like something really large, that you can enter this kingdom, and you go there when you want to find something, but you shouldn't say what you want because otherwise you will not get what you want. It kind of has the same Caraval vibe to it, and this girl, she goes to this kingdom because she is asked to go there by a man, and a lot of things happened before, like a few things happened, and she goes there to try and find a way to be with the love of her life and to help this man who asks her to. So she goes there, and that's pretty much the story, you know. She just goes there and you follow her in this kingdom and all. And yeah, not amazing. I didn't particularly enjoy it that much, but it was fine. It was a quick reading, so it's not painful to read, you know. But yeah, not the best. Second arc that I've read is The Luminaries by Susanne Dennard. So this one really has a unique world and magic system and all. I mean, it doesn't really have a magic system, but basically there are families, the Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, you know, like all of that. And there is this club. I mean, it's not a club, it's like, well, yeah, I guess it's a kind of a club. The Luminaries, that are the hunters that will go in the forest at night to try and kill the monsters that are there, so they do not enter the city, like the little town that they live in. And basically this girl, her father was a trader, he was a witch, and you don't do that there. You don't do that. And so she is kind of exiled, but not really, because she doesn't leave the town, but basically no one talks to her and her family because she has a brother and a mother. No one talks to them. Her dream is to become a luminary, but because she is outcast, well, she cannot really do it, but she decides that she will do it nonetheless. And so she enters the competition. It's like, it's not really a competition, but it's basically like a test in 3 stages. And the first one you have to do this, the second one you have to survive this, and then basically you have to survive the 3 tests to become a luminary. Kind of follow her throughout this journey. I've loved this book so much. It was so good, guys. I give it 5 stars. As I've said, the world is so unique. I loved it. The romance. Okay, there is a little romance happening in here. The guy, he's blonde, first of all, so I was like, that was for me, thank you. He is so amazing. I loved the girl, the main character. She is really unique. Like, I've never quite read a character like her in any book. The one that reminds me of her the most is Ophelia in the Mirror Quartet. I just loved it. I loved the story, and I definitely recommend this book 100%. Like, you have to read it. Run to your bookstore and buy this book. It's a masterpiece. Oh, it's gonna be a series also. Next arc that I've read is Fear of the Flames by Queen Olivia Darling. This book is a high fantasy new adult book. It follows Adalyn. She is the heir to a kingdom, but she's running away from her father and from the kingdom because it's fucked up. And and she meets this guy who says that he can help her. And basically Catelyn, he is the army general of the kingdom that is basically the enemy to Adalyn's kingdom. So yeah, really nice little thing. This book, guys, I give it 5 stars as well. This book was so flipping good. Same as the Luminaries is going to be a series. I will not say it's unique. It's like a high new adult fantasy. You've read that. But guys, I swear to God, there are dragons in here. Just that. The romance is so amazing. It is kind of an enemies to lovers, like rivals to lovers type of romance, and I loved it. It will be published on the 19th of November, so definitely buy it when it will be out, because that is one of the most amazing books that I've read this month. Let's just continue on with the EPUBs that I've read. Next ones are 3 books in a series, and that is Deviant, Fracture and Burn from the Blood and Roses series. These are dark romance books. Basically, it follows this girl who's lost her sister. She was kidnapped and she is looking for her sister, and to get information she needs to sleep with a guy. Yeah. It doesn't really start that great. Like, I wasn't convinced, okay? And so basically she sleeps with that guy, and she does not get her information because the guy that was supposed to give her this information, he dies murdered. So she does not get this information, and basically, like, I think 3 years go by and she's obsessed with the guy she slept with. Like, she constantly thinks about him, and she has never slept with another guy after that. Oh, it was her first time. Cliche. One day she actually finds him again. He tells her that he can help her find her sister. It does talk about human trafficking. Be aware there's a lot of blood, murder, violence, also kind of like kings with a knife. It's dark romance. But yeah, so read the 3 first books in the series. There are 6 books, and I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna read each one of them. This is so good. Like, I love it. I really love it. First book I give 3 stars, second book 4 stars, and third book 3.5 stars. I am obsessed with this book. I love the guy. He's an icon. The girl, she's so amazing. Love her. Love the plot. Like, I'm so into the plot. I want to find this sister, you know, like, find her. It's so interesting, so well written. Each books are like a bit more of 100 pages long, but it's like around 100 pages long each book, so it's really fast, but still it doesn't feel fast paced. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but it is fast paced, of course. Still, I feel like it's not weird or awkward. It falls into place. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense, which I really love. So I definitely recommend this series if you're into dark romance. It is really good. Yeah, I'm obsessed with these books. I'm fine. I'm planning on reading the last 3 books next month, so okay. And then the last book that I've read in like EPUB format is the Zodiac Academy 0.5 novella that is Origins of an Academy Bully. So this is the little novella. I think it's same as the Blood and Roses series. It's like around 100 pages long, but I think it's a bit less than 100 pages long. And basically it follows Darius and Lance, like 2 characters from the Zodiac Academy series, before the first book of the Zodiac Academy, and it kind of talks about personal things and why they were like that, and like, I don't want to spoil you, so it just follows Lance and Darius before the first book, and it involves Darius's father. But that was really interesting. I definitely recommend reading this novella because that is really interesting, and it gets you to know a bit more Darius and Lance and why they're like that in the first book. So then let's just get into the physical books that I've read this month, starting with Kingdom of the Feared by Kerri Maniscalco. That is the first book that I read this month, actually. So that is the 3rd book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and it follows Emilia, who is a witch, and her grandmother always told her not to summon demons, and basically if she saw demons she needed to stay away from them, especially from pride and wrath. I think it was like the 2 ones that she was like, stay away from them. Obviously something happens and she finds herself making an alliance with wrath. Interesting one. So this is the 3rd book in the series, the 3rd and final book. I really liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars. I don't even know what I did. Yeah, I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Basically at first I was kind of not convinced by this. I was kind of like, oh, it doesn't make sense. I do really think that Kerri started this series not knowing how it was going to end, and it kind of was obvious in the 2nd book and obvious in the beginning of the 3rd book, but then everything kind of falls back into place, and it was really interesting. I really liked this book. Like, honestly, I was so surprised loving this book so much, because the 2nd one I hated. But yeah, that was quite a success, and also I really want her to write a series on pride. He's the love of my life. He's my favorite character from the series. I love him so much, and I'm like, I kind of feel like she will do it, because come on, like, you've hinted at us so many times. We get bits and pieces of Pride's life, but not that much, so I'm kind of like, is she teasing us right now? Maybe. Fingers crossed. Love this book. Then I read Hunting Adalyn by H.D. Carlton. So same as Blood and Roses, this is a dark romance series. There is human trafficking in it. It follows this girl who's an author, and she inherits her grandmother's house that was supposedly haunted, and she goes there and she finds her great-grandmother's journal, I think, from back when she was living in the house, and basically she learns that her great-grandmother had a stalker, and she soon realizes that she as well has a stalker coming around her house at night and in her house at night. So yeah, dark romance, stalking. There are a lot of trigger warnings. I wasn't triggered at all reading this book, which surprised me, because honestly there are like so many trigger warnings. I was like, oh my god, are we gonna die reading this? But no, if you're not sensible, I don't think this book will trigger you. Honestly, it's not the most triggering book ever. It does talk about weird things, but it's dark romance, guys. You know what you're doing when you're reading this. Like, come on. I did enjoy it. Like, I really did enjoy the book. But the last 50 pages were so long to read because it was just the plot. I mean, as I've already said in one of my vlogs, I'm not reading dark romance for the plot. But yeah, so the last 50 pages were really painful to read because I wasn't really interested in the plot. So yeah, I gave this book 3.5 stars still. So it was really good. I really liked it. I don't think I will read the 2nd book though, because I've heard that it's really centered around the plot, and also it talks a lot about a subject that is quite triggering, and I'm not sure even I want to read about this during 600 pages. Then let's stick to the dark romance. She was in a dark romance mood this month. yeah, I read Gothikana by Runyx. Now this book, guys, this book, one of the best book I've read ever. Like, I'm so surprised. The main character, the girl, she is accepted to this university on a hill, secluded. Like, there is nothing around this university. There is no signal, nothing. Can't do anything. You go there and you're lost on your own. So she goes there, and there are other students, of course, but there are weird things happening in the school. The year before the girl arrives, someone killed themselves, but out of nowhere. Like, there were like no signs of depression or anything that could have led to this person killing herself. So this happens. Also, she hears rumors that every 5 years there are students disappearing and never reappearing again. Also, there is this thing about like a group of students that used to kill students back in the days. Anyways, really weird stuff. And this girl, she has a background. Her mother and father were schizophrenic. When she goes there, she starts to hear voices and see things, and so she's like, ooh, maybe I'm a schizophrenic as well. Then she meets this guy who's a teacher, and everybody says to her like, stay away from this guy, stay away from him, he's weird, don't go near him, blah 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 blah. And obviously, what does she do? She kisses him. Yeah, good job. There's like student teacher romance, mystery, horror. It's perfect. Like, it's the perfect dark academia dark romance series ever. Book ever. Not super. Oh, it's actually going to be a series. But definitely recommend this book. I give it 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 stars because the writing isn't exceptional. Honestly, nothing crazy about the writing. But it was so good. Okay, so good. Read this book, thank me later. It's going to be a series. I think a sequel, no, not a sequel, a prequel will be released very soon, but the author is currently facing something really difficult in her life, so she has postponed the release of the other book. But basically the other book will follow a student, I think during like the Victorian era. Next is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. So this follows a girl, and she has always known death during her start of life. Wherever she goes, someone dies, and because of that she has like a really strong link to death himself, and she sees him, and she's basically the only person that can see him without being dead. And because of that, death is really intrigued by Signa, and one day there is another death in Signa's life, and she ends up in her uncle's, I think it's her uncle's house, and her aunt died a few days or weeks or months ago, I can't remember, and she goes there and it stinks of death. Like, this house is weird. And there is her cousin that is almost dying. Like, she's dying and she's trying to help her. Death is going to help her trying to unsolve what's going on in this house. Kind of a mystery book, and it was really nice. I did like it. However, I didn't like the last pages, like the last few pages. I feel like it was a bit rushed. Would it be the romance or the uncovering of the murderer? It was too rushed, and I was disappointed in that because it was really good, really atmospheric. I give this book 3 stars at 3.5. Oh, 3.75 stars, guys. I was really picky with this one. Like, it could have been really amazing, but less pages for like, ugh, no. It's going to be a second book in this series. I will probably read this because it was still really atmospheric, and I feel like it's a perfect autumnal reading. Next is House of Hollow by Krystal Sutherland. I give this book 3.5 stars. It follows 3 sisters, and they disappeared when they were younger. They disappeared during an entire month and reappeared at the same place where they disappeared, but changed. Their hair changed and their eyes colors changed, and after this disappearance they kind of like got these powers to compel anyone to do what they want, and they feel weird things and they see weird things. But yeah, they don't know what happened. They don't have any memory of it. And in the present, when you're reading this book, one of the sisters disappears again, and the two other sisters are trying to find out what happened, and this will lead them to know what happened when they disappeared when they were younger. So did that make sense? I don't know. It is a paranormal horror book, mystery book, but it is paranormal, be aware. I was expecting a rational explanation to a few things, but no, it was definitely paranormal, which surprised me, and because of that I didn't appreciate the reading as much. Also, I feel like it was really confusing. Like, there were a lot of things that I did not understand, and reading it I was just like, what's going on here? So I give it 3.5 stars because of that. Like, I didn't understand a few things. The ending is quite interesting. I really liked it, but it was confusing. Then I read The League of Gentlewomen, which is by India Holton. So this is a romance, enemies to lovers, bickering, funny romance. Kind of like Jane Austen vibes, but more than that, it was probably way too funny for me. I was expecting something a bit more serious at some times, but it wasn't. It was always too funny, and I feel like it kind of ruined the thing because the romance is perfect. I love the dynamic between the two characters. So basically there's this witch and he's a pirate, and they are supposed to be enemies. Like, the witch society and the pirate society hate each other, and there is this jewel that gets stolen by a pirate that is like a really hated, that everyone is scared of, and they have to lie to actually get the jewel back. It's a lot of bickering, which is really cute and very funny, that I liked. And this is why I loved the romance and the ship so much. Like, the dynamic was just perfect. But around this romance there were like a lot of odd things happening, and it was just not serious enough. I give it 3 stars, but yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. It could have been better, but it was still a nice, cute, funny romance. Next, that is not a surprise, I read Zodiac Academy, the first book in the series. It follows twins that are summoned to this school that is Zodiac Academy, and there they learn that they are actually fays that were exchanged with humans when they were little girls. And they also learn that they are the heir to this kingdom that is Solaria. And the thing is that when they arrive in Zodiac Academy, and in Solaria, there are already 4 heirs that are about to take the throne, and they've been growing up their entire life knowing that they will get this throne. So obviously they do not want to let it go, and it's a bully academic romance. It's really good. It's paranormal, so they are fays, they are vampires, and honestly guys, this book is definitely worth the hype. It is so good. As well as A Court in 10 Roses or 6 of Crows or these type of like series, you get like this really intense fangirling behavior when you're reading it. You're like, oh my god, like screaming and all. I definitely recommend this. I give it 4 stars. I love this so much, and I'm so excited to continue on reading this series because I think it's going to be a new favorite. Then I read A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So this follows the first wife of Dracula. Her name is Constanta, and it starts in like the 1300s and it ends in the 50s. So you follow her throughout her entire life, and you get to know more about Dracula and the other wife and husband. It is a polyamorous queer retelling. Is it a retelling? I guess it is a retelling, yeah, of Dracula. And I feel like it is really realistic, like in the sense that if Dracula really existed, I think it would have been like that. It does talk about a few sensible subjects such as toxic relationship and how to get through that. So it is quite touchy. I must say that I had a panic attack reading this. So I'm not sensible when reading books. I was when reading this one, okay? But it is a masterpiece, guys. I give this book 5 stars. The writing was phenomenal. Honestly, the writing is so beautiful and poetic, and it's just a masterpiece. Like, I've annotated so many pages of this book. I loved it from the first page to the last page. Yeah, just read this book. Definitely recommend this book. And then last little thing that I've read this month, that is the 3rd volume of The Killing Side. I think I've seen like the English title for this book. My Dearest Self with Malice Aforethought. That is so long. And that is the literal translation for the Japanese title. But yeah, in France it's called The Killing Side. It is one of the best manga I've read. Honestly, it's just so good. It does talk about murder, gangsters, mystery, and mental illness. And yeah, it's just so good. It's kind of creepy. Also, you trust no one reading this. But I love that. And that, my friend, concludes this wrap up. That was a lot of books. That was a really good reading month, and that was a good mental health month, I guess. There were a few lows, but honestly, reading is a therapy. You should all do this. What books did you read this month? I hope that you liked this video. So if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, to subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss any of my new videos. And I will see you guys very soon for the November TBR. Until then, take care. Bye, lovelies.